Routine, new skills, new you. Man, how do you have effective sales conversations? There's so many methodologies out there. Challenge yourself, spin selling, snap selling. How are we having conversations that turn into clients? So today, I really want to share from yesterday a call I had that went almost perfect, like textbook. Good thing I'm recorded. Got to get permission to share it. But some takeaways is three things. You You have to understand where they are and where they want to go. And there's two opportunities. They either don't know where they want to go and you show them what's possible. I think the problem they have is why they'll listen to you, but the promise that you have is why they'll pay you. And that's the how. Like, how do we get from where we are to where we want to go? And that's where a good sales conversation or even sales process is so important, whether it's a 30-minute call or it's multiple steps over several weeks. Your job is their guide, is their consultant. Like, hey, here's where I think we can get to, and here's how we can get there. And I want to be careful. I don't want you to spend your conversations teaching them everything you know. However, as their guide, you want to say, listen, I know the steps to get there. And share one or two. Share them and say, hey, here's the outcome. Your first step is going to be signing up to work with me. So I'll use a real life example. I hang around startup founders because that's who I love to serve. Startup founders and professional service businesses. They have the same problems, just on different scale. And every chance I get, I will always ask a question. My introduction sounds like this. Hey, I'm Bruce Hill. I make sales simple. Can you tell me about how your go-to-market strategy? I'll just ask the question. But I'll always say, I make sales simple. After the networking event, someone came up to me and said, hey, Bruce, I think I might need your help. So, okay, what do you need help with? He said, well, I'm making calls and it should be to warm leads, but I keep getting hung up on. I said, okay. So, well, tell me your intro. Tell me what you're saying. They pick up the phone. What do you say? He said, he started off with his name, the name of his business, what the company does, what the people they help. And I wanted to hang up on him. We were face to face. I said, when someone picks up the phone, there's a very subtle, it might be subconscious, it might be front of mind. Who is this and what do they want? And actually, let's revive that. They'll say, why are you calling me? And then what do you want? Who are you is irrelevant. Because if someone calls and says, hey, I need to give you $100,000, you'd be like, wait a minute. You might not believe them, but you might not hang up. And that's the level. There's two things you want to accomplish in that first 10, 15 seconds is curiosity and clarity. Curiosity and clarity. So, that's another good video. We'll work on our cold call strips. So I told him, I said, well, what do these people care about? What do they want? What are they hoping to accomplish? What are they trying to overcome? And so we had a great conversation. I gave him a few tips, actually introduced me to his boss, and I met the founder of the company. So I said, listen, I think I can help you. I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can improve your outreach, and we'll talk about additional support. So we had a call. It was 30 minutes, and at the beginning of the call, I said, hey, here's 1, 2, and 3. These are ideas I had. How does that match what you're already doing? Now, one of the ideas, they had already started. I was like, perfect. You're already on the right track. That's not a loss for me. That lets them know I know what I'm doing. The second one, they hadn't thought of. I had a few suggestions of some software to get it done. They're like, oh, we have software that does this. We're just not using it. I was like, great. Well, you need to use it. And then the third part, I asked them, or I shared with them, hey, here's how we can increase your conversations, not just the duration, but their conversion to appointments. And we went over a few things that they done. kind of brainstorm ideas. I got all this done in 30 minutes. And I said, hey, listen, it sounds like you're on the right track. If you want some help, here's what working with me looks like. Do sales support. It's very specific outcome. It's over 30 days. It's just $1,000. And I said, what do we need to do for that to make sense for you? He said, hey, he's like, I like it. We need this. I need to get some of these things off my plate. We need to help our outbound team. He's like, I'm going to get this budget approved. We'll talk to you next week. Boom, simple. That was maybe 60 seconds of the call. 29 minutes was value add. And it's not coaching where, again, you walk them through setting up the tool step by step, or maybe in this case, rewriting outbound sketch form. It's just giving them ideas and getting them value so that they see you're valuable, right? That paying you is going to get an exponential increase on the value they receive. It takes a little practice. The trick is let them do most of the talking. That's the short version. Maybe I'll do a workshop on value added sales conversations. And it makes the decision to work with you so much easier. It makes the decision to say yes so much easier. I said, well, if we get this much value on our 30-minute call, we need more. Part of it is timing. Sometimes if they're not ready, they don't have budget, there's another conversation for that. We'll talk about a nurturing campaign. But the person with a problem they want to get rid of, an outcome that they desire, and you can help them close that sales distance, they'll say yes. Even if it's, hey, we got to wait till next quarter. I have one, I need to send them an email actually. Budget resets in June. Right. So this is May. It makes it easier when they leave with value. And I think the problem we have with sales is always, is too often going with what I want to accomplish, what I want to do, what's best for me, when you should be looking at what the prospect needs and wants. It's a simple shift, but it'll make a huge difference in your conversations. It'll make a huge difference in your conversions. You're going to hear a yes more often. And that's where I wrote Better Questions, Better Clients. I really don't think we need another sales training. I'm pretty confident we don't. We don't need another like overcoming objections or cold calling, but what we need is to reshape how we think about those customer interactions and creating customers that we want to keep, customers that want to stay. And that starts with value. I think the biggest thing I want you to take away from this conversation, having effective sales calls, is where can I quickly add value? That's the question you want to ask. That's why the book's called Better Questions, Better Clients, right? That's the question you're going to ask when people say, man, that was a great use of my time. That was so helpful. Thank you. And when you start hearing that in your calls, you're doing something right. Don't forget to ask for their business. It's strange. Sometimes people won't volunteer, like, hey, how do we work with you? It happens. But it's your responsibility. Give them opportunity to say yes. But when you give first, you're not taking from them. When you offer for them to work with you, you're offering them more, right? And that's the shift in their mind. It's like, yeah, I want more value from you. How do we get started? So I'm excited. I've already sent the proposal. Got the follow-up schedule for next Tuesday. And I'll make another video about why they said yes and how we're going to implement and serve with excellence. That's what we do. When I talk about making sales simple, I use it in my business. I want you to use it in your business. Sometimes it's not implementing artificial intelligence. Sometimes it is a piece of software to help multiply your efforts. But a lot of times it's just clarity. And that's what they needed on their phone calls. And that's what I'm going to help them with. So always use my business as an example because too many times people give you theory, something they read in a book, heard at a conference, or just dreamed up. Like, no, this is what works because we've tested it. And that's where I want you to take and apply to your business. So you're a startup founder, SaaS startups, I've worked there, went through acquisition. I didn't found it. So, like, oh, Bruce, you said you sold your company. I did not. So we went through an acquisition. worked in sales enablement, and that just means making it easier for your customers to find you and say yes. And I put all those together to help you hear yes more often. So my name is Bruce Hill, new skills, new you. And as always, one new skill will change your life.